to ask about Tyler Perkins because it seems to me the role of punter is very unique in the sense that every time you take the field, the team has failed at something, and you've got to be your best.
Yeah.
Assuming you've never played punter, you know, D end
You would
and all
assume
that, and
correctly.
tight end when you couldn't catch a pass back in the day. But what type of mindset does that take to be at your best under those circumstances?
Yeah. You know, I vividly remember recruiting Tyler. You know, he sent in a highlight tape, and in his highlight tape, where he's from in Ohio is the snow belt, and literally it snows like crazy in Sandusky, Ohio, and he's shoveling off his high school field and like sending a highlight video of him punting, you know, and it's snowing like crazy. And to that point, you fast forward his freshman year, and we're in Kinnick, and it's the end of the game. We've had 2 punts like partially blocked, and it's raining to beat the band. And I said, well, this isn't as bad as the snow in Lake Erie. And, you know, he caught it, he punted it away. And I just feel like for Tyler, and not only has he had that role, which I think is also a very unique role, but he's also been the holder. And I don't think there's anything easy about that role as well. And, you know, a lot of times we talk about all the great kicks, but there is a snapper and a holder that has to, you know, really be the key to that operation. And I think what Perk has been and meant to our football team for 4 years, it's really gone, you know, or underrated. I think he'll leave here as the best, statistically, the best punter in school history. And he's been incredible this year, but he's really been incredible his entire career. You know, what he's about, that's a really hard job. You're right. I mean, it's, you know, I think I've always said in the specialist world, it's like being a golfer. You know, you have your moment, your time, and the consistency to do your craft with, you know, elite precision and detail. It's really hard to do, and it takes a special person to be able to do it. And for a young man to start here 4 years, have the career he's had, I think it just exemplifies the kind of excellence that he stood for during his time here.
A lot of seniors obviously will get a send-off on Saturday, but Tyler and Dom were here, Tom as well. But I'm going to ask about Tyler and Dom in particular because A, how impressive is it that Tyler has a start streak that he's taking into this game, given the position he plays?
Yeah.
And B, Dom told me that he came in, he was negative about everything. He was negative about everything in his life, and he's, you know, this program's helped him flip the switch. Can you just talk about what those guys have meant to the program and, you know,
Yeah, I think 16 seniors globally, and each one's got a really unique story. And I you know, of those 16, you know, 13 have been with us the whole time, and you know, their stories are really fascinating. You know, you talk about those two, Tyler, obviously the success that he's had, you've seen him come in here as a 17-year-old young man, and he leaves here a father of 2, an unbelievable father, engaged, ready to get married this offseason. The success he's had as a leader, I don't know if we would have got through this season if he didn't have the maturity of that man, that leader standing at the front of the room, guiding the football team. And Dom, you know, what he went through, you know, COVID was really hard on Dom. You know, I think there were some rough moments between, you know, 8th grade and his senior year of high school football. And there's been some really rough moments here. You know, it hasn't always been easy, but I think what you've watched that guy do in leading his play, I don't know if there's a defensive lineman that's played as good a football as Dom has played the last 4 weeks, and been able to do it not healthy, and been able to do it. And I mean, I don't know, what's he playing, 60 plays a game? I mean, I don't know who asks a 350-pounder to do that, but we are. And because it's for the best interest of the team. And, you know, I would just say the senior class that we have right now, I kind of think exemplify like really this team. Man, they've had some tough things happen. They've had some really tough situations, and man, they've gutted through it. And I think it's the reason why this team is still standing and got a chance to do some really special things here at the end of the football season. So, yeah, it's been really awesome to watch those two, and I think every one of our guys have got a really great story about who they are and who they've become. And that's what's great about college football. That's still the great part of this story is, you know, who they were to who they became and who they grow into through the journey. It's the great reward of what makes 4 to 5 years so special and what it's got the ability to truly become.
I go back to Ray Lima, and it seems like that position has produced guys that play really good football and have emerged as How do you think about Dom in the context of all those guys, Rayon?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I just, number one, that position is so hard. I mean, they're getting double teamed and at times triple teamed almost on every snap. Selfless, not a lot of people sign up to say, hey, I'm going to go play nose tackle and, man, have the ability to, really be the center of piece of the defense. And, for Dom, I think for any D lineman to say, I want to do that, we all want to sack, every D lineman wants to sack the quarterback. They want to have the tackles for a loss. And the reality of it is the D lineman's responsibility is to reestablish the line of scrimmage and really be in the gap of responsibility and let everybody else do their job. And I think, again, selfless and understanding the value of team, at some point you get that. And I think Dom has really grown into that role and understanding if I dominate my role, if I really do my job, then we're going to play great team defense. And it's been really fun to watch him do that. And I think what will come from that here in the next couple months will be really rewarding for him because he has proven to do his job with elite consistency. And and then I think people see that it is a selfless act. I mean, not only are you asking them to do it during these games, but you can imagine what every spring practice looks like and whatever fall camp practice looks like. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're getting double teamed. They're in the heat of the battle every single play. And so I think that's why that position in general has really been held in high regard here because the physical, mental toughness that it takes to play that position. I think the respect our players and our coaches see of guys that have the ability to do that and do it at a really high rate.
You guys were able to really use the bye week, I imagine, to look at the passing game in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What did you see, good and bad?
Yeah, I think it goes to the word that we're continuing to find on that side of the ball, and that's consistency. And again, I think there's a multitude of reasons why that consistency is where it is. And I think globally we're trying to be the most consistent we can be here in the finality of the football season. And obviously we've proven to be able to do it. It's just to be able to do it with the consistency we need to play the offensive football we want to play. And I think getting healthy hopefully will continue to help that. Are we there yet? No. Are we closer? Hopefully a little bit. I think the bye week certainly helped us. And then fundamentally, in our detail, we have to be better. And so I think all those things included, it was great to be able to get some time to be able to see what are we doing well, what are we not doing well, and then how do we try to formulate the best plan moving forward to give our team and our players the best chance to be successful.
So along those lines, how is Rocco's health?
Yeah, I would say he's getting better. I don't think these are anything that a week or two are going to take care of. But I think the reality of it is man, that guy has really worked hard to try to at least physically get himself to be ready to go and put himself and put our team in a position to win football games. And I think you saw in the fourth quarter, I mean, the guts that kid had to be able to do that in the fourth quarter of that game with where he was physically and some of the throws and, be able to make some plays with his feet. It was really awesome to watch and see. And, again, he knows, man, where he wants to be and certainly what he's got the ability to be when he's at his best. And, I think keep pounding away at those things. But I think growing, hopefully this week and a half, helped him a little bit, kind of get himself a little bit closer where we'd like him to be physically.
Sticking with the passing game, I think I noticed that Jake Waters was on the sideline in at least one of the most recent games. What led to that decision by him or your coaching staff altogether?
Yeah, I just think from our end, just trying to continue to, help support, the whole system the best way possible. And so, I think we flip-flopped a little bit back and forth on that piece of it. And, I don't know globally one way or another, but I think just trying to make sure we're doing everything in our power to find the best consistency we can do and, try to support our offense the best way we possibly can.
I know you have familiarity with Kansas's defensive coordinator, DK McDonald. What are your impressions of him as a coach and as a DC?
Yeah, DK's had an incredible career. Was with us at Toledo and was a huge piece of our success there. And then obviously as we came here was a huge piece of, the growth of, who we were in 2016 to really who we were by the time he left here, and DK had a great background. His background was kind of a 4-down quarters guy that came in. We hired him from Cal PA, was with Coach Sirianni over at Cal PA when he came to us, at Toledo, and really did an incredible job here. I mean, great teacher, great mentor, left here, obviously got a great opportunity in the National Football League, was part of some of those really good Eagle teams, and then you can just tell has done a really great job in terms of coaching, developing his players, and whether it's been the DBs or globally, just he's always had an incredible mind for the game of football, and schematically has always been a guy that has been able to put his guys in great position to be successful.
What are the emotions of senior night like for you, especially when you mentioned 13 of the 16 guys have been here since day one, and what would you say is your biggest takeaway from this class overall?
Yeah, I always feel like it is emotional to see where these guys have come from. Like I said, I think I can go through every single one of these guys' story, and man, when they started with you to, man, as they're leaving, Tyler Morrow is like one of the great names. I mean, the guts and courage of that kid. I think Tyler, man, comes to us during COVID. We recruit him, highly recruited football player, getting ready to really explode on the scene in 22. And on Wednesday, before we play West Virginia, tears his ACL. And that kid hasn't missed a meeting, hasn't missed a day of rehab, and it's like one of the toughest character-driven players I've ever watched. And I think just globally, when I look at every one of these guys, when we talked about Jim Boniface and what he's meant to this team, and you talk about what James Neal went through in this football program to where he was to where he is today. These guys, they stand for what's right. Miles Mendez, man, he's been a tough, gritty, hard-nosed football player and done anything asked for the team to be its best. And so I think when I look at this team and I look at this senior class, like I said, I don't think there's any way that Iowa State football, there's probably very few teams that could overcome what we've had to overcome this year. But we have, because our senior class has led us. And their guts, their character, who they become in their career and what they've stood for has been nothing short of exceptional. And the character and the class that they've led with has been really rewarding to watch. It's given us a great opportunity to be our best and grow through really hard times and continue to hopefully play our best football here at the end of the football season, because these are some monumental opportunities for this team and obviously our football program here down the stretch.
And when you watch Kansas on film, what sticks out to you most about them and what impresses you?
Yeah, I think they're probably, by position group, maybe the most talented team in this conference. I mean, you look at the amount of experience that is played, obviously with starting at quarterback and Jalen, how talented he is, and you look at the talent level that the wide receiver room, man, outstanding. The young man that transferred from Alabama, these guys are big time football players. The O-line, the tight end room, the running back room has always been great and continues to be great, and a lot of experience that's played there. And you flip over defensively and it's like, daggone, they're 8 deep on the D-line, and they are talented and can get after you. And guys that have played a lot of football there. The linebacker room is uber talented, the safeties and the corners. And so I think when you look at them, there's a lot of guys that have played a ton of football, and a lot of guys that have great talent and great ability. And so it's going to be a great challenge for us. Again, this is a team that's got the ability to, man, do a lot of things offensively, make you play in space, make you play in the box, man, shift, trade, motion. And then defensively, they're physical. They get the ability to play vertical, and at their best, man, they can create havoc in the backfield. They do a great job of, man, creating a lot of havoc as they play. So, a lot of respect for certainly the players and the team we're about to play, and know that, again, talent level, you're talking about one of the best true teams in our conference right now.
Matt, what kind of things does Daniels do that you really have to account for?
Yeah, I just think, again, what he's done an incredible job during his career is you've seen him just get better and better and better during his career. And obviously, I think everybody would say, boy, he's a great athlete. He certainly can make you play horizontally throughout the football game. You have to be gap sound because he can make you pay in a heartbeat. But I think the thing where it's been so impressive to watch him is just his ability to throw the football, and his ability to be vertical down the field, his ability to make precision passes. He's done an incredible job of really kind of honing in on the complete package, and he's really become that as a quarterback. So, we'll have to play our A game defensively to be able to compete with them from an offensive standpoint, because he really challenges in every way, shape, and form.
Has the tape from the Kansas game last year come up at all this week, or are all the pieces, so much different that it doesn't really factor in?
Yeah, I think, obviously, with Coach Leopold being there for now 4 years, you kind of got a little bit of a recipe of like who they are and who they want to be. But again, I think credit to them. I think there's been evolution offensively, and certainly, a unique difference defensively. I think schematically, probably a lot of different, entities, a lot of similar players, a little bit different structurally of who they've been and who they want to be. But, I think you certainly always are going to take, man, the past couple of years, what can you gauge? But I do think this team is unique, and I think they've done a great job of like trying to play to the strengths of what their team is, and put their guys in great position to be successful.
We'll end with Bill up here.
All right.
Injury question.
Mhm.
I'm gonna let you get through a press conference without one of those, but, how, Tayshaun James, Gabe Burkle, Caleb Bacon, Patton, and any other guys, how's that looking?
Yeah,
The
great
list
question.
goes on and on.
It goes on and on. Unfortunately, Gabe will be out for the year. We'll have surgery tomorrow. JMO, I think hopefully at some point we'll have a chance to get him back. I'd probably say at best is questionable for the weekend. And then Tayshaun, will be out for the foreseeable future. And then Bake will be ready to play. Bake is good to go and be ready to play this weekend. So there's one with good news.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
Wherever you get it, right?
Get it out there.